All right, welcome to Chi Talks. I'm your host, Nona, and I'm here with my co host, Javier. And today we'll be talking with our guest, Qigong Master, Lisa B. O'Shea. And we'll introduce you to her shortly, but today we're going to be talking with her about Qigong movement and how a practice could possibly add significant benefits to your health. But let's first start out with a short breathing exercise, and I'm going to invite Lisa to help lead our listeners in some breathing.
Great.
Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. It's a real honor and it's a really pleasure to see both of you. It's been a long time. It's nice to be here and I'm happy to meet your listeners as well. So let's begin with some tuning in with our breathing. So notice your inhale as you take a breath in, and as you let it go, let the exhale continue all the way out. Let it just roll to a stop. And when you feel like inhaling again, just begin inhaling. Each exhale, just let it go till it rolls to a stop. And as you breathe gently, become aware of this moment, this space, this time. Relaxed and ready. Nice, thank you.
Thank you for that, Lisa. So today, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about Qigong movement. We've talked about other topics in previous shows like herbs and breathing, but we just wanted to have a show dedicated to the movement aspect of it. Although it is a holistic practice, so you can't really separate one from the other. We wanted to address some questions, some very basic questions like what can a Qigong movement practice provide to the practitioner that other forms of exercise does not? And what can one gain from practicing Qigong? What makes a particular movement a Qigong movement, anyways? So we wanted to touch on this, and to do so, we've brought in Lisa.
So Lisa is, yes, certified Qigong master, therapist, and instructor, and she's the founder of the Qigong Institute of Rochester in New York, from where she's joining us today. In 1998, Lisa created the Qigong Institute of Rochester, and she offers various classes in Qigong, Tai Chi, Qi healing, meditation, and nutrition, and she offers a certification in Qigong therapy. And in 1995, she became a certified Qigong healer through the Chinese healing arts with Master
TK Sure.
TK Sure. In 2012, she received a full certification as Qigong Master from Dr. Jwing-Ming, who is our teacher. Welcome, Lisa, to Chi Talks on KMUD Community Radio.
Thank you. It's really wonderful to be here. We've known each other for so many years as fellow students when Dr. Yang's, and it's kind of magical up on the mountain, and you're all just students together. You don't really bring a lot of history with you. You're there to open up and learn new things, and so it's really nice to be back together again.
Okay, so here's the first question. Lisa, when someone comes to you for the first time and they're brand new to the word Qigong, how do you explain what the word encompasses broadly and also in terms of Qigong movement, which we're focusing on today?
Yeah, that's, it's important to kind of set a foundation. What is Qigong? What are we here to do together? And I like to orient people with Qigong in terms of health and wellness. So Qigong is part of Chinese medicine, and it's based on the idea we have energy flowing through our bodies all the time. And that energy is a real thing. It's not a mystical concept. It's not a spiritual concept. It's like electricity. And each of our cells needs the right electricity to be able to do what it's supposed to do. We get a natural chi flow every day, all the time, but we get into trouble when our systems get too tense. So it can be from physical tension, repetitive motion, bad posture, or injuries that can create problems with our energy flow, or lots of stress. Stress affects, your neck and shoulders crunch up, but also the internal organs. What Qigong is, it's a method for opening up that chi flow within the body so that we can feel better. And we all want to feel better. What does that mean? We want less pain for sure. We want to feel happier. We want to be able to digest our food easily. We want to sleep well at night. All of these kind of mysterious things that a medicine just can't do. There's medicines for digestion. If they really worked, everyone would be so happy. If we could eat, junk and then take a pill and be okay, we'd be so happy. If people could take a pill and sleep well at night, we would be so happy. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. People all over the world are taking medicines for both of those things and not feeling okay. So what Qigong is, it's a method for getting the energy flowing and also a pathway for self-awareness so that we can change our own lives. That's a significant component of what Qigong has to offer, and that comes back to the point of how is Qigong movement different than other kinds of movements, different than regular exercise, that we are growing our awareness of ourself and our health while we are learning Qigong. So it's not just here's a movement, do the movement. It's what are you noticing before you do the movement? What are you noticing while you're doing the movement? And what about afterwards? What does that all feel like? We bring the awareness into the movement. We're not just going to the gym, plugging in our uh, earbuds, zoning out, and pounding on the treadmill. We have to stop. We have to listen and increase our awareness over time. Not tune out, but really tune in. To progress with Qigong, it's learning how to train your awareness. That's really what Qigong is about. We call that inner vision, and it doesn't mean just with our visualizing powers, but sensing physically, emotionally, spiritually. That's all part of that ability to sense what's going on. And you can use that phrase inner vision to really kind of spotlight. We want to know what's going on inside because it's an inside job. It's not an external job. It's an inside job to wellness.
It's really great that you bring that self-awareness, building and learning process into it, because I really feel like that's what keeps it fresh and exciting all the time, no matter what movement you're doing. You could do the same movement 100 times, 1,000 times, over the course of, a few weeks or months or years, and it's always going to be new and different if you come at it from that angle of what am I learning about myself today?
Yes.
Where am I at right now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's an exploration, and the teacher's job is to help create a space that people can go on that journey. Okay, so the teacher has to show the students, here's a movement, let's do it together, and students kind of figure out how to do the movement, and you're helping, but you're modeling, creating that space. I'm creating that awareness in me, and my vibe is going out. I'm tuning into me, and I'm tuning into you as a student, and then the students feel that vibe of awareness, and you welcome in more awareness. So that's the benefit of a group interaction with Qigong, is that you're helping each other hold that space of awareness, because anybody in the room or in the space at any given time, their mind will wander. But other people are holding the space of awareness, and it helps pull you back. It helps, even doing it along with a video or recording can help you feel that space of awareness. So even when your mind wanders, which it will because we're human, you can come back to awareness, come back to this moment that you're doing Qigong.
There's so many different threads that I'm just and that we can go down. A couple of things that you mentioned were the feeling. How do we articulate the feeling as awareness arises, right? Before, during, and after. So this is very, I'd like to maybe explore that a little bit on articulating, what it is that we're feeling. And then so also as you describe the role of the teacher in creating that space, I just get this really nice vision of awareness, like awakening. And what might you call that? Because I get the sense also that awareness happens, and then there like another layer of awareness happens, and then
Yeah.
another layer of awareness, and you're like, and all of these things are coming into the brain as they're coming into the body, and you're having these feelings, and then the mind is noticing these feelings. So
Yeah.
yeah, just it's great
Oh,
stuff. So
yeah. Well, we could do
uh
an example of it right
okay.
now. Such a simple element of many different qigong exercises for thousands of years have this kind of as like a little element in it. If the listener will just kind of have your palms facing each other, the shoulders are down, elbows are down by your sides, palms are facing each other, kind of like you were holding like a big beach ball or a big basketball. And then as you inhale, you let the hands kind of pull apart a little bit. And then as you exhale, you let them come towards each other a little bit, matching it with the breathing. No rush. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Inhaling, the hands pull apart. And as you're ready to exhale, the hands start to come together. And as you do that, you say, I don't know what I'm feeling. That's one of the first thoughts, right? What is that? I don't think I'm feeling anything. What is it? Am I feeling something? Well, let's just hold that space. Let's just hold that space. We can be aware of our breathing. We can be aware of our posture, the spine. And as you do it, you may notice, I don't know what is happening, but I feel more relaxed. We don't know. We're just putting a placeholder there, a question mark. What is it? I don't know yet. But I feel relaxed. It's holding my attention. It's quieting my mind for this moment. Now let's just bring the hands really close on the next exhale. So just on the next exhale, bring the hands closer, 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 closer until it feels like there's maybe something between the hands, like a little sponge, a little water balloon. If you kind of circle one hand, you might feel that tingling, or something on the other hand. There's this something between the hands. If you pulse one hand, you might feel a vibration on the other hand. So you say, okay, what is that? We're going to put a question mark there. There's an awareness of something. So this is an element of moving the hands with the breath, with the mind, and shining the light of our own attention on both. I'm aware of my breath, I'm aware of my body, I have a movement that I'm creating, and I can have many awarenesses that arise from that. What do I feel? Do I feel some tingling? Do I feel some warmth? Or do I just get a zoned out, peaceful feeling? That simple Qigong movement is one that is an element of many different Qigong exercises. And you could practice that all by itself for as long as it felt good. And that's Qigong. In its simplest element, that's Qigong. You just practice that for as long as it feels good. Try it standing up. Try it with a little turn of the waist with the movement. And now you're kind of exploring the different kinds of elements that Qigong has available to us. What our job is when we do Qigong is come back to what we're doing. Notice what you're doing. And when the inner dialogue starts the conversations, hey, what am I feeling? I don't know. Is this silly? You just say, just keep space. Just keep space for it. And even if it's for 2 seconds, for those 2 seconds, you have just helped your body to recover from stress, even if it's 2 seconds. If you get 30 seconds out of that peaceful moment, you have done an amazing amount of healing for your body from stress, an amazing amount of healing. So that is a very simple little window into shining the light of your awareness on what is happening in this moment.
That was great. That really broke down the timeline of the inner dialogue and the awareness unfolding just with that little exercise. So that's great. I want to take a second, remind the listeners you're listening to Chi Talks with Javi and Nona and our guest Lisa O'Shea from the Qigong Institute of Rochester. And okay, so our next question, I would like to, if you would mind, share your personal story. So from that small exercise, right? Okay, someone might say, well, that's great. That feels good. Now, how can I take that into my life? How can I like to use the word, and I know you use the word too, integrate that into my life? Because when I started learning Qigong and Tai Chi and then started to explore and to keep that curiosity of what is this? And how can I deepen this? How can I take this further? Once the idea of integrating this into everyday life, possibly every moment, once that sparked in my mind, I was like, oh wow, okay. So I would like to learn, especially because of your background in science and engineering, that discovery process for yourself as you tackled your asthma.
Yeah. So that's how I first got into doing Tai Chi and Qigong. I went to a class and I was a super stressed out person, uh, but I just felt good going to class. So I just went to
Mm.
class and class felt good. And yay, I'm
Yeah.
going to class. I don't know what all this is about. I've never done anything like this. And then 6 months into it, my asthma was gone. And it wasn't like just a switch 6 months in. It was steady Eddie. Maybe like 3 months in, I would go to use my inhaler, and then I'd have too strong a reaction to it, like I had taken too much medicine, and I would just stretch out longer and longer between when I used my inhaler. This was back, so long ago, 1995. They only had rescue inhalers. There weren't even any other kind. There weren't the steroidal ones. It was just the albuterol one. So I had to use it like every 4 hours. And then then it was 6 hours. And then it was once a day. And by 6 months, it was like dusty in a drawer. I wasn't using my inhaler anymore. I thought, what the heck is going on? What is this all about? And I hadn't like done away with my junk food. This was a long time ago. I was still eating junk food and I still was living my stressed life, but there was something that happened just by adding in some Qigong and Tai Chi a couple times a week. Okay, something changed for me. And that was an awareness of relaxation, an awareness of my mind and body working together that was completely uncharted territory for me before then. I went through engineering school, I was an engineer, and then I went back to school to get a teaching degree, and I'm raising a little boy, and it just was going on and on, one thing on top of another, stress, stress, stress. And then my asthma, slowly over 6 months, which is not too long a period of time, but 6 months, it was going away, gone. So what do people need to do to have personal experiences with healing with Qigong? You just need to do it. You just need to put some time in. It doesn't need to be a lot of time. what it does is it plants a seed. That time that you're doing Qigong and you're bringing your breath and your awareness to your body, it plants a seed that affects you the rest of your days. Excuse me. It affects you the rest of the day when you are tuning in. So that's what creates the change. So how do we integrate Qigong into our day? Is you just plunk it in. Get up when you're watching TV and you do that little hand movement. Right when you're watching TV. You watch TV, I know you do, everybody does, or you're listening to some podcast. Just do that little thing when you're listening. You don't need to change your life. Just add in some Qigong. See what happens. See what happens when you pay attention to yourself.
We're in a world that draws so much of our attention
away from us,
away from ourselves. That's such a good reminder. It's a practice that gives you permission to look at you.
If we want to be well, we have to be one of our top 3 priorities. People have priorities in their life, but if you're not one of the top 3 priorities in your life, you're not going to be healthy. You have to be one of the top 3. So when you think, what are your top 3 priorities? You got, family, you've got relationships, you've got, where do you fall in that? You've got work, you've got all these things. If you are not one of the top 3, you're not going to be well, because only the top 3 get attention every day. Only the top 3. As soon as you drop to number 4, it's not every day that it gets your attention. And to be well, you need to have attention on yourself every day. You have to be one of your top 3 priorities.
Lisa, going back to your story of the asthma, what would you say, what about Qigong helped that condition to gradually disappear?
Yeah, that's a really important question to ask. When people have asthma, or they have acid reflux, or they have migraines, and I could list 100 things. Okay? You could say, what is the problem? What is going on? What do I need to do about that? You can ask that question and you think there's a different answer for each one of those, but it isn't. It's the same answer. You have to change your stress level. What do I do about COVID? How do I prevent myself getting ill from COVID? It's the same answer. You have to reduce your stress level, because stress level is your immune system, is how your body is monitoring what's going on inside. What is your body doing? And our immune system is measuring all kinds of molecules all the time, okay? If you're under a lot of stress, it's going to overreact to things. It's going to overdo it on stuff, and then your immune system gets run down. And I'm not saying the immune system just catching colds. I mean, what is inflammation? What is inflammation? It's your immune system. That's your immune system too. So it all comes down the same answer. You have to reduce your stress level, and that doesn't mean tuning out. So people think, I'm going to have a beer and reduce my stress level. I feel so much better with this beer. Like, okay, do you really feel better? Maybe for a little bit. Maybe for a little bit. But if you had a logbook minute by minute, okay, drinking a beer minute by minute, say, all right, first sip, I feel so much better, okay? And 10 minutes later, if you were numbering it, you would see that graph, okay? There's a certain celebration when you have a drink, but that wears off pretty quick. And you say, well, maybe I need another one. The second one's never the same celebration. Now you're just really tuning out. You're not de-stressing. You're not helping yourself. It's a small distraction. Okay? And the same with eating junk food. It's a small distraction. The first bite, delicious. Second bite, half as good. Third bite, you're not even paying attention anymore. It's automatic eating. You don't really feel better. So how does Qigong get rid of asthma? It's de-stresses the body. And by that, I mean resets the biochemicals in your body. It resets them to you as if you were on vacation for 3 months. It resets that stress level in your body. So everything starts to work the way it's supposed to work.
Thank you so much. I want to ask you about organ health for the listeners, and maybe for someone also coming into the word Qigong newbie, maybe even someone who is saying, yeah, I do my walking, or I do my weight training, or I do mountain biking or something. Can we talk about the awareness of the organs and their health?
Sure. Yeah, so all exercise is good for us. Okay, we need all kinds of exercise. We need vigorous exercise. We need slow, gentle movement. We need mindfulness exercise. We need all kinds of exercise. What Qigong exercise does for us is it allows the body to keep that awareness inside. When you're mountain biking, your eyes are out on the trail. They have to be way ahead. You have to be aware of your environment so much. The same with your lifting weights. You have so many things to pay attention to. Can you really notice what's going on deep inside the body when you have so much to pay? You're out for a run. You have so much to pay attention to. Can you really relax deep inside, be aware? It's too much to pay attention to when you're doing normal Western kind of exercise. So when we do Qigong exercise, we can have that awareness on the muscles, on the bones, the joints, but we can also move that awareness deep inside the body to the organs, which for most of us are under some kind of distress. And that distress can show up as a variety of different health problems. When the lungs, the organs are under distress, we can get breathing problems, but we can also get skin problems. We can also get emotional sadness that shows up with it. When the liver's out of balance, people say, well, my liver enzymes, I just got them tested and they're a little out of balance. What does that mean? Say, well, you can measure stuff with the liver, but when the liver's out of balance, you also feel edgy. You snap at people pretty quickly. You can get trouble with headaches, trouble with indigestion, all kinds of physiological problems that go along with it, and emotional problems. So in order for us to be well, we need our organs to be well. Normal exercise that you might have learned in, elementary school, that you just adultify, when you get older, you're doing the same kind of things you did when you were a little kid for exercise, but now you're a grown up. They're not going to allow that level of awareness to get to the organs. So if you do a Qigong exercise for the lungs, it will also help your skin. Okay, you do a Qigong exercise for your liver, it's also going to make you a little more relaxed when people around you are annoying. You're not going to react so much. You let it just, I don't care what they're doing. It just slides right by, not so reactive. So the exercises help us physically, but also emotionally. So the organs are a critical piece of Qigong exercises that are healing for the body. So medical Qigong is the term for that. We want to do some Qigong exercise to bring health to the body. Then the exercises will focus on the organs.
I just want to remind listeners that they are listening to KMUD radio, the community radio of the Redwoods. And you're listening to Chi Talks with myself, Nona, and Javi. And today our guest is Lisa B. O'Shea, Master of Qigong from the Qigong Institute of Rochester. And we're talking about Qigong movement as a form of exercise, what it provides to your wellness regime, and I think I'd love to now move also into perhaps an example of Qigong movement, how the movement does get you more in touch with organs, and also perhaps how an everyday exercise that is not a Qigong movement can be maybe modified or changed in some way to become a Qigong exercise.
So let's talk about how you get a movement to affect the organs in the body. All right. And there's many different styles of Qigong exercise. Okay. Many, it's 5,000 years of history. So many styles, from sitting still, meditating, you're not even moving, to very vigorous movements. Qigong has quite a range. To work the organs, you want to be kind of smack dab in the middle, where you're moving slowly, gently, and frequently the breathing is coordinated with the movement to really deepen the relaxation and help with the circulation. So basically, movements that help the organ systems are going to have a compression of that organ and then a stretch in that area. So for instance, if you were doing an exercise for the lung, you would be compressing the lungs by kind of rounding the back to compress the chest, and then you'd be stretching the chest to open it up, coordinating it with breathing. Also, different arm movements to either emphasize the front of the lungs, the back of the lungs, and the meridian for the lungs comes down to the hand. So often there's a little stretch in the arm and the hand to try to activate that pathway for the energy to expand and flush through the lungs. The main idea with organ systems and Qigong is that you think of the organ like a sponge that you are rinsing out under a faucet. Okay? So what do you do when you're rinsing out a sponge? You hold it under the faucet, you let it fill up with water, and you squeeze it out, and you let it fill up again. You squeeze it out, you let it fill up till the sponge is, the water coming out is nice and clear, the sponge feels clean, you say, good to go. All right? That's basically what we're doing with the organ systems in the body. There's a gentle compression and then expansion coordinated with the breath, and visualizations help with that process. So there's layers of how much of our attention is put on the lungs. I can do a movement, which puts my attention there. I can visualize, which puts my attention there. And there's even sounds that different organs are associated with that put even more of your attention and awareness on the organ. What you're looking for to be able to tell, just like that sponge, you want some clue that it's clean, right? How many times you say, I'm looking at the sponge, I'm going to put it under the faucet. How many times am I going to squeeze it till it's clean? You don't ever think that, right? You just put it under the faucet and you squeeze it out, and then now it feels right. It feels right. So with Qigong, is the same thing. Students say, how many times do I do it till it feels right? But it's an honest question. I'm not trying to, deflect a question, but it's no different. If you're not used to rinsing out a sponge under the faucet, you might say, how many times should I do it? Okay. But after using a sponge for a while, you say, I don't need to guess ahead of time. I'll just do it till it feels right. With Qigong, the feeling right piece of it is that peaceful, floating, relaxed, present awareness. It draws you inward, getting more peaceful, more comfortable. Sometimes people get sensations of warmth, tingling as the circulation really gets going. Those are all very common signs that the circulation is improved in an area.
How do you feel, Sponge?
How do you feel, Sponge? That's great. I'm wondering if we can look at an exercise, say for the liver, that we could possibly lead listeners through that, where they might be able to actually do organ of your choice, Lisa.
Yeah. Liver is a great choice because it's very timely for most people. Liver is one of the organs most associated with stress because it's the see it, do it. organ. It helps you look at something, decide what to do, and then do it. It's in charge of that. So all through your day, how many times do you do that? Look at something, decide what to do something about it. We do it over and over and over again, and it gets overwhelmed. There's too much going on. When you have too much going on, the liver for sure is overwhelmed. So there's a very simple Qigong exercise. This comes from Mantak Chia school, the liver sound exercise, and it's a nice stripped down Qigong movement that you can add a sound into it if you'd like to, but you don't have to do it with a sound. Sometimes it's hard for people to clearly hear the sound, but I'll say it now. It's like water hitting a hot frying pan. It starts with a T, and then like you're shushing somebody at a library. That right, like water hitting a hot frying pan. That's the sound, and sometimes just making that sound by itself is really helpful. So you're driving down the road, somebody cuts in front of you, and you feel that like frustration. That's the liver. It sees it and it wants to do something. Okay? It wants to do something, but there you are in your car, there's nothing to do. So the liver's like, you better find something to do about it. So then the lights, you flick the lights or you beep because your liver is like, I gotta do something. And then that's that frustration coming up. So making that sound is very therapeutic. Somebody bugs you on the road, making the sound. There's a visualization that goes with it, and that's you picture the liver, which is a really large organ, like the size of a football. It's huge, and it's on the right side of your abdomen, most of the way protected by the ribs, but a lot of it is exposed. You picture that organ deflating like a balloon as you make that sound. It deflates like a balloon, and anger is being squeezed out like that sponge. You're squeezing out the sponge, and anger is being squeezed out. And then when we breathe normally, kindness comes back in. Kindness, whatever it means to you, helps us to turn anger back into action, which is what the liver wants. The liver just wants action. That is all it wants. Anger is the frustration with lack of action. So as we picture anger squeezing out, then the organ fills back up, kindness comes in. There's a simple movement, okay? There's a simple movement that goes with it. The hands can be resting on your lap with the palm up. That's how it begins. The hands sweep out to the sides and up above your head, and we interlock the fingers above the head. And then turn the palms up. You rotate the palms so the palms are up. And then we're going to stretch that right side. So your ribs on the right side, stretch a little. The ribs on the left, squeeze down a little bit. We're going to make that liver sound and picture the liver squeezing out anger. So take a breath in. Squeezing out that anger and then straightening up. Breathing normally, the hands separate. We turn the palms down. The hands come down in front of us until they're resting with the palms up on the lap. And just picture that liver on the right side filling up like a balloon, inflating. And it's filling up with kindness. If you're good with color, you can also imagine green filling up the liver. Green is very balancing for the liver. And just try to feel that peaceful sense in the liver. Kindness growing, it's expanding with green. Even doing that exercise once can be very helpful. Doing just the sound by itself is helpful. Doing the visual, let's say you're in a group of people and you're starting to feel edgy and cranked up, you want to mellow it out, you can just visualize that liver squeezing out anger and then filling up with kindness. You can just do the visual, like you're rinsing out that sponge. anger out, kindness in a few times. It really will help you feel better.
Lisa, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Following along there. I hope that everyone at home or out and about, enjoyed that exercise as well. And you know, it's really great to show beginners how simple it can really be. And I think that exercise, it's something that you can adapt to wherever you might be. You don't need to stop your day to practice. You can do it right when the anger hits, in the car, on the
Exactly.
road.
Yep.
And it's a great tool, because I think we're all human, and at some point you're going to struggle with that anger. And what a great place the world can be if we could all manage
Yeah.
that energy
Yeah.
in a productive way.
That's right. And when we feel anger is not a bad emotion. It is a catalyst for change. That's what it was meant for. It's biological. When you need to step up and get something done, it's an animal response to push through obstacles. That's what it's for. It's a catalyst for change, desire for action. But in our complex human interactions, we cannot take action on many, many things that we want to. There's too many protocols in place. You cannot take action. And so we shut down that impulse for action. We shut it down, but it doesn't go away. We still want action. We still want change. And then it pushes back up. And the next time it pushes up, it's a little more insistent. It goes from just, I want to do that, to, you better do something. And then you shove it down again. And the next time it comes up, now it's frustration. And you shove it down. Next time it comes up, now it's edging into anger. And by the time it's anger, most people really lock it down, because anger is not safe in our public kind of world. So by then, we totally have put a cap on it and hammered it down, and then the liver just gets so messed up. Most Western illnesses are from the liver. High blood pressure is a liver energy problem. High cholesterol, liver. Cardiovascular disease, heart disease, is a liver energy problem. Cancer is a liver energy problem. Acid reflux, anxiety, and depression. Those are the most common Western illnesses. Autoimmune problems is liver dysfunction. The most common Western illnesses are all the liver. And you can see, because our society, we can't just do the things that we want to do. It gets shut down. Anger's not a bad emotion. We need to get it circulating so that we can turn it back into action, back into something positive.
For those that are just tuning in, you're listening to Chi Talks on KMUD Community Radio, People Powered Radio. This is Javi and Nona. Our guest today is Lisa O'Shea of the Qigong Institute of Rochester. And we were just talking about anger and how to mitigate anger, as it's an opportunity. It's
Transform it.
transform it. It's
action.
exactly. And
Yeah.
it makes me think of NVC, Marshall Rosenberg, how anger is one of your four friends.
Yeah.
To notice what's alive in you, and as you said, see the opportunity for change. And gosh, I just think about action, and this is really interesting for me as a practitioner and a student of martial arts. Anger can lead to violence, and violence is, as you were saying, is not something that well, you didn't use the word violence, but the anger, I think, leads to violence, can lead to violence. At the same time, can lead to passive aggressiveness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the way that we process that emotion. And I think the tool that you're giving to squeeze out the liver emotion, bring in the kindness,
Wash it out.
wash it out.
Yeah.
It makes me think about the heart, how to fill your heart at the same time.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
So anger becomes the baseline for so many of us, because we're so frustrated with our powerlessness. We're frustrated with our lack of ability to take action. But most of that is in our own head. We want to say something to somebody, but we say, no, I cannot say that because it would be mean. I wouldn't be nice. Maybe they wouldn't like me if I said it. So we don't keep it real. We just say stuff to get along, but if you keep suppressing things that you want to say, it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. You say, I can just shut it down forever. No, you can't. You cannot, because it shows up as high blood pressure. It shows up as I said, acid reflux. It shows up as headaches. It shows up as digestive problems, cancer. It goes on and on. It doesn't go away. But why can't we speak to each other? Why can't we just say, hey, when you said that, this is how I felt. But we don't say it when it's little, okay? We don't say it when it's a small thing. We suck it up. And then they say another thing, and now it gets a little bigger. And then maybe we don't say it then either. And we're going to say, I just got like 5 more minutes and I'm going to go and I'm going to get out of here before they really take me out. But we don't. They say another thing. And now we are really maxed out. So what comes out is anger. That's what comes out. When it could have been, hey man, that's not cool. You can't just say that to me. Or I don't agree with that. Or no, I can't do one more favor for you. The answer is no. I cannot do one more thing. That's my answer. Not, you can't make me feel bad about it. I don't feel bad about saying no. So if we could do that, then the anger wouldn't pile up. Anger's not bad. It's a desire for change. It's the suppressing of our voice that creates the problem. Anger's not the problem. It's the suppressing of our voice. So Javi was saying, what about the heart? Because you feel it in your heart. But what we're feeling is the suppression of what we want to say. So the power of speech, this power of speech is from the heart. That's an attribute of the heart. The heart gives us our power of speech. The liver is action. The heart is speech. The heart is openness. It's connectedness. It's unity. But it's also speech. Every time we shut down something we need to say, it's like a little bit of a punch to the heart every time. And do you think you can keep doing that and be okay? We can't. We can't keep shutting down and be okay.
Excellent. So we got about 6-7 minutes left. Speaking of the heart and speech, what is exciting you right now, and what is your message right now to listeners, your students, your clients?
What I really want people to understand is that there are 3 lifestyle factors that we need to have our eye on. 3 significant lifestyle factors. One is nutrition. What food is going in us, okay? The next is movement. We need lots of movement every day. And the third one is peace of mind. What's going on between our ears needs to be more peaceful. So these are 3 really powerful factors on our health. And they're all lifestyle factors, stuff we can do something about. And they're like pots on a stove when you're cooking dinner. You don't have to perfect any one pot, but you can't leave any of them untended. Okay, you have to stir the pot in all 3. You can't ignore one. So if you're you're all about exercise, you run every day and you mountain bike and you go to the gym, but you're not caring about what goes on between your ears, you're not going to get very far. It's going to trip you up. If you're all about nutrition, you eat great, super clean, but you're not doing enough movement, it's not going to be okay. So we've got 3 really big lifestyle factors. And we don't need to be perfect in any one of them. We do not need to have a perfect diet. I got rid of my asthma and I was still eating Captain Crunch for breakfast. I was an adult, I will admit, at the time, but I was still eating junk food, and my asthma went away. You do not need to perfect any one of those three, but you cannot ignore any of those three. So every day is a new day. We say, what am I going to eat today that's good for me? What am I going to eat that's good for me? Find something that's good for you. Get that in every day. And say movement. I can't sit around all day and expect to be healthy. Going to the gym once a week or even 3 times a week is not enough. You need to move all day. Our bodies are designed to be moving like 10 hours a day. That's what they're designed for. Your blood flow doesn't even work correctly when you're sitting still. The venous return, the blood flow of the veins back towards the heart, it is assisted by the muscles squeezing the veins. So when we sit still, the heart is under stress. It's not getting that help. Our body's not designed to sit all day. We have to get more movement in the day. If you work at a computer, you have to get a stand-up desk. If you're on your phone a lot, you better stand up. Get a stand for your phone. Just get up. You need to move around. It doesn't need to be exercise all day, but you have to be moving more. So each day is a new day. You say, what am I going to do for my movement today? So you say, all right, I'm going to go for a walk. Great. Now, what about the rest of the 10 hours of daylight that you got? What about the rest of those hours? What are you going to do? You have to do something for that time. You can't just leave it all on one walk. You have to do something every day. But a walk is a great start. A walk is a little bit of Qigong every day is a great start. More movement in our day. And then mindset. If we're not working on peace of mind, none of the rest matters. The movement doesn't matter, the nutrition. If you totally ignore what's going on between your ears, you will not be well. You can't afford the 3 pots on the stove and everything's cooking. You have to stir that pot. That means working on creating peace of mind. That could be with meditation. That could be with music. That could be with mindfulness. It could be with self-help books. Could be a therapist. You just have to stir that pot. You have to do something to get rid of the debates that go on in your head all the time. The inner dialogue that we carry on in our own heads, if it's always a debate, if you're always trying to prove a point in your own head, if you're arguing with people in your head all the time, or if there's some kind of clock that's ticking and you're racing mentally, you're not going to be well. So how do we do that? How do we quiet it down? It won't happen by accident. People think, oh, I'll relax when I'm done with this project. It's unrelated. Your life situation is not going to dictate what's going on between your ears. You have to be in charge of it. No matter what you're doing, you have to learn how to say to the debate that's going on that it needs to just be quiet. It needs to stop. And there's many techniques. Qigong is a great technique. Mindfulness, so many techniques that help us to train the mind to quiet down that inner dialogue. It's critical for our well-being.
All right. Well, we're going to close it off, and hopefully we can have you back because we have so many more questions. I
would
do.
love to come back. Thank you.
Lisa, just let everyone know how they can get in contact with you. If you have any workshops coming up, let us know, and
or ongoing classes.
Or ongoing classes as well. Yeah.
Thanks. I have, if you go to my website, QigongRochester.com, you'll find that I've got online classes that run live every week, and I also have recorded programs that you can purchase. I've got DVDs and CDs. Some stuff is downloadable. So many ways to kind of step in, classes of the exercises, Tai Chi as well, meditation, nutrition, mindfulness. I've got many programs. I've got a video library subscription as well. I've got 40 different 1-hour webinars in the library. It's only $20 a month. That's a very cheap way to just step in, and you have access to all those webinars that are drill down 1 hour on what do you do for acid reflux, for instance. What do you do for cancer? What do you do for asthma? And it's just from A to Z, Qigong, meditation, nutrition, all the different things that you can do to work on one topic. So that's another easy, accessible way that people can get some help with Qigong. And then I see clients one-on-one using Zoom or Skype, whatever you want, FaceTime. And I work with people all over the world. We go through their health situation. I do distance healing on people, and then I create a tailored Qigong exercise program based on what their health needs are, and a nutrition program based on what they need. So really helping people make that journey from wherever they are to wherever they want to go. That's part of what I do as a Qigong therapist.
You just got through listening to Qi Talks on Community Radio, People Powered Radio, KMUD. And that is it, Lisa. Again, thank you so much. If you want to contact us, talkingqi@gmail.com. Any questions, comments, send them our way. talkingqi@gmail.com.
Qi spelled Q-I.
Q-I.
And Qigong, Qigong. Lisa, one more time, that website where folks can...
I didn't spell it out. Yeah, QigongRochester.com. That's QIGONG Rochester, ROCHESTER, QigongRochester.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And we will be on air again next month, third Thursday at 9 a.m. Till then, be well.